What's up, everybody? Nick Powell's publisher of 1851franchise.com here with another episode of Meet the Zor, where you get to learn the stories of franchise brands across the world. Today, we are talking Signarama. Coming up next. Legacy brand, young guy. AJ, what's your franchise backstory? Set the stage that way, and then we'll go into the business.
Excellent. Well, thanks for having me, Nick. I mean, franchising's in my blood. I mean, my grandfather started Minuteman Press, the printing franchise. My dad is the founder of Signarama and is the CEO of United Franchise Group. And so I really don't know if I had a choice of being in franchising or not, but I really love it and enjoy it. But I grew up in a business. I grew up in our business, and I grew up talking about franchising at the dinner table every night. And so that's a big part of our family's history and culture, and love everything about franchising.
Okay, this is going to be an odd question, but I'm two sides to it. One, did you ever leave the family business? And two, because the larger statement is, obviously in franchising, we're trying to convince someone to leave what is normal to them and go into business.
Sure.
How have you navigated that as you've gone through your career?
So my dad has been an amazing reverse salesman throughout his life, where he always said, like, look, business is here, the experience is here, but you do what you want to do. You do what you like to do. He's a master reverse salesman, but he always said, look, start working at the company, and more importantly, work in a franchise location. So work for a franchisee to get experience, and you'll figure out if this is something you want to do or not something you want to do. And that's where I really started. So I've always worked in Signarama and United Franchise Group, but I worked directly for a franchise owner in West Palm Beach, Florida. So I did outside sales and marketing, and learned the business that way, and then worked my way up through there. So I really got the itch working for a franchise owner, but under the umbrella, no, I've never worked for anyone else.
Do any of you or your siblings have children now, and could they get involved in the business? Is the same thing happening? Is this a multi-generational franchisor?
So we're in that prime age of having kids right now. So I have a 2-year-old daughter, and we have another daughter on the way. My brother Austin, he has a daughter who's two years old as well, and just had a son a month ago. And so we're on our way there. So yeah, the child labor laws probably wouldn't let us have 2-year-olds working for us yet, but the dream is one day that would be the case. We would love our kids and my daughters and my nephew and my niece to work with the company. I'm sure my brother would say the same thing.
Well, I mean, it's rare for multi-generational franchisors to exist. I mean, you can think of the iconic brands, the McDonald's, the Wendy's a little bit with his daughter, but it's long past that. Taco Bell, Subway, DeLuca didn't have any children, at least as far as I know, or anybody that is going to take it on and run with it.
Sure.
So you have these iconic brands, but at some point, private equity, publicly traded, some sort of complexity shakes it up. So it's very rare for you guys to exist. And now, like, as an outsider, obviously you're acquiring some brands, you're helping other franchisors become franchises. Like, it seems like the blueprint is to continue to pop, not to exit.
Yes. And so we're a very rare company from what you just explained, but also that we're a big company that acts like a small company. My franchise owners have my cell phone. They text me, like, before I got on with you, I'm texting a franchise owner about Virginia Tech and Miami. I'm a Miami fan, and they're upset that it's a catch. That it really was a catch. So if they're watching this, but the fact is we have personal relationships, and that's what's important. We're all in it to make money. We want our franchise owners to make a lot of money. We want to make a lot of money, but we want to build something special, and we want to build a legacy. So there's a difference between just in it for the money and in it for the legacy and the growth of the brand and the success and the dream of having our kids and my cousins and their kids in the business as well. That's what we really dream about and we're excited about.
Obviously, your grandfather, your father, true entrepreneurs by the definition, creators or identify a competitive brand and build it on up. Is it like inside of you, like obviously you've taken on a leadership role, and I'm entrepreneurs in your blood. But is that like something that you had to silence in a way and say, let's not be entrepreneurial, let's really build upon the foundation that's already there?
It's a good question, Nick. I mean, we're working with that right now in terms of the six of us, between me and my two brothers and my three cousins and my dad, all working together and keeping the culture and keeping the grittiness and the entrepreneurial spirit, but also acting like a big company. And it's hard to balance that and hard to work on both sides of that. And we're doing it and doing the best we can, and we're going to continue to learn and grow during that. But there's times where you think like an entrepreneur, and there's times you think like a big company. And it's not a one size fit all, to answer
Yeah.
your question directly. But there's definitely times where you have to take a step back and say, you know, we're not just dealing with one person's life here. We're dealing with hundreds of thousands of people's lives that we affect. So it's a different mindset when it's just a startup or an entrepreneurial piece. Yeah.
Well, I think the word entrepreneur is a wide label, but if I look at private equity acquisitions of brands, like the second the founder is removed, the heartbeat of the business dies, and sometimes it can go on and survive. And it's almost like entrepreneur and founder, and both of them have some grease on it. Like when people say founder syndrome, it's a put down, but the reality is that's just the heart. Like the founder is crazy enough that when shit hits the fan, they don't see it. And so that ends up being, in my opinion, that should be a put down. That should be an asset. So for you guys, if you're able to keep that founder slash crazy, and crazy in a positive way, still dialed into these brands, which obviously you have to do with Signarama, then that might be part of the magic piece. That, again, like the umbrella statement of entrepreneur founder is not. I don't think it explains what it actually means to have that component in the chemistry of a business.
I look at it as a positive. I mean, when people throw around these words as like the culture or the heartbeat, like what you just said, Nick, that's my dad. My dad set that into motion years and years ago, and it's still that case today. And we're bringing that culture to the next level and passing that culture on. But ultimately, when you take the people out of the business who started the culture and built the culture and really built the business in their image, it changes. So I think it's a positive thing overall when you have the founder in it, because they're the ones that ultimately made the decision to start the business in the first place.
Yeah. And again, like for you to access that or have that in the back of your head when you're thinking through what is a day in the life of a franchise owner who is they're more entrepreneurial than the firm definition of like a creator. But like you still have to go there, because understanding how they battle loneliness or stress, depending on how much money is coming in or money is going out, like having that almost entrepreneur empathy ends up being such a critical part of leadership when it comes to operating a franchise brand. And obviously that's something that, even if you're not in the seat of the creator right now of the holding company, you still have that in your blood.
Well, yeah, and as the franchisor, I feel like I'm a marriage consultant. Sometimes I feel like I'm a shrink, like whatever the case may be. A lot of it is emotional, because you are dealing with entrepreneurs who care about their business. It's their family's livelihood. It's their family business. So you have to have that empathy. So it's not just a number on a page. These are franchise owners. These are real people who care, and they live and die by the business. And you have to understand that and live and die with the business with them. And a lot of private equities don't get that all the time.
As I shift gears over to Signarama, if I think about the business, and this is gonna sound negative, but I want you to put the positive spin on it, because if I'm a buyer, it's especially at my age, mid 40s, thinking about buying into a franchise. As a side note, I'd be an awful franchisee because I'll tell the brand everything that's wrong with the business. So I'm not a qualified franchisee on the emotional side. But if I think about the business, obviously it's been around for a long time. Signs aren't going anywhere, but the way that we can engage a marketing company to build our signage or our tools has evolved tremendously into an online world. Talk about how you prevent the business from getting blockbustered, and how are you adding innovation back into it or adjusting the way that you look at what is the true franchise opportunity?
Signage in general is a multi-billion-dollar industry just on that set. So when you're looking at a business, the industry, although it's huge and there you can see signs everywhere, if you walk out of your house tomorrow or you walk out of your building today, you're going to see thousands of signs in a 10-20 minute period. And that's not an exaggeration. And so the fact is, a lot of bigger companies have tried to get into our space and they fail and they leave it because we are such a custom business. And that's what I think our biggest thing is. We're a problem solver for business owners to help them grow their business in no matter what it is. It could be vehicle graphics, it could be exterior signage, interior signage, ADA signage. We have such a wide variety of products that we can provide for customers that really a big box or a big company or even online doesn't want to touch it because it's so custom and it's so cumbersome in a lot of different ways. The technology is actually helping us grow our franchise owners because when you're a business owner and you want to scale and you want to grow, you don't want to talk to someone online. You want to talk to a business professional that's going to consult you and work you through the process. And so we see our core products continue to grow every single year, even through COVID, after COVID, and to the future, because everyone needs and uses our products every single day. And so it's custom, it's not going anywhere. There's not a technology that's going to completely get rid of signage. If anything, the technology is going to help our franchise owners be more cost effective and help them be more efficient in their business. And that's what we're seeing with AI, with different manufacturing techniques and things like that. So it's a vibrant industry. It's a lot of fun.
I would imagine the one area is going to just be the shift in what is the value of the brick and mortar, and I would imagine the value of the brick and mortar for you guys, call it showroom or billboard, like if you're going to be in the business that's selling signage, why not have that billboard up in the marketplace? So I would imagine that's part of the shift. You don't need as much material to showcase to the business owner in the community. It's more so that staple of saying we're there, and look at the signage that we produce anyway.
That's right. Everything that we use to promote our business is an example that they can use to promote their business. So that's the whole thing is so we're not looking to be in like class A, retail right in front on Main Street, but we're looking to have a location that's easily recognizable. People can explain where they are. This is a business to business franchise, and it's really a relationship business. We sell signs, but really it's business owners communicating with other business owners and building relationships on how they can grow their business.
Where do you see the brand going? I mean, obviously you're sizable, so it's not like you're going to come out and say every year we're going to add 500 new locations. Like, what is this next stage of the life cycle of the business?
Well, we still have states that we're not in, believe it or not, all these years later. So there's still some growth opportunities within the United States. Internationally, there's a ton of growth opportunities. We've been extremely successful around the world, France, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, just to name a couple. But there's still a lot of great countries and great areas that have signage needs. And so we can see some growth in that way. We're also looking and focusing on how do we help our franchise owners continue to grow because this market is huge. So even though we do over $350 million in signs every year, that's just a drop in the bucket compared to this multi-billion-dollar industry. So how do we get more of that pie? And so we're strategizing and working hard on how do we help our owners get a bigger piece of that pie as well.
The franchise marketplace has gotten very competitive. You're not just competing against other sign companies, you're competing against every franchise broker who is finding someone with a set amount of money and saying, hey, here are the businesses that exist in this category. With that being said, who is this persona of your current buyer? Like, who are the conversations you're having with? How do they come to the conclusion that this is the right business for them?
Well, a big misconception on our brand is most, if not a vast majority of our franchise owners coming into our business have no sign and graphics experience at all. And so a lot of them are discovering the industry for the first time. We really look at people who have management experience, sales and marketing. This is a B2B sales and marketing company. If we're really boiling it down to whether they're doing the sales and marketing or they're employing people to do the sales and marketing, that's what this is. I think a big selling point for our brand is we're a Monday through Friday brand, business hours, Saturday, Sundays off. This is again, someone who enjoys networking, being in the community, being a problem solver. It's not a roll up your sleeves, let's make the sign franchise. We have a lot of employees who do that.
Do you swing in one direction or another on age of the buyer that's coming in?
The buyer is getting progressively younger, what we've seen trend wise, which is great. Typically the average age is around 50, 55, but it's getting younger every single day. I'm seeing younger and younger people come into the business, which I think is an overall trend in franchising, but we're seeing that as well.
Yeah, I mean, we do these studies every month because we have a volume of franchise owners across all these brands that we will do PR for. And the one thing that I was curious about recently was the speed to inquiry, not speed to deal, but speed to inquiry based on age range. And what's interesting is those over the age of 50 for the same investment level could take a year to go from impression to inquiry versus those under the age of 40 were going closer to 3 to 6 months. And so I think about just the speed of the processing, and probably it's the complexity of life when you have older children and you're looking at what is the financial commitment to them, and then you weigh that against financial stability of a job. It probably prevents you, or when you're in your early 50s, especially if you're moving up the corporate ladder, you're weighing how far you can go, and are you happy if you're going to stall out at a VP level. And so it's interesting because I'm curious on the swing. So swinging younger is probably just purely the speed of being able to process. I want to make a change.
True. I mean, we look at our data internally on like where do our customers come from, the people who buy signs, and it's so interesting. The people on smartphones and tablets, much younger, obviously, than people on computers, and we still have a decent amount of traffic coming from that. But the decision making, exactly what you just said, Nick, is a lot quicker when it's on your phone. I think that's a generational thing too. When you're looking at your phone and you want to make a quick decision, you make a quick decision, you just move on.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I love it. In closing, anything else you want the franchise buyer to know or think about when they're thinking about your opportunity?
It might sound like a beauty pageant answer, Nick, but we're a family-run company. We care about our franchise owners. Signs are great. The industry's awesome. We've been around 38 years, and we're a mature brand, but we continue to grow and grow and change and add things and technology and things of that nature. But we care about our franchise owners. We're family run. You'll get my cell phone. We'll talk through things. If you want to talk to me about sports, talk to me about sports. If you want to talk to me about business, call me about business. I'm very accessible, and my team is very accessible, and my dad's very accessible as the CEO, and that means something when you're investing in a brand and a business. Moving on, we know the industry and the brand is strong. It's the back end and the support that a franchise owner should be looking at.
Love it. AJ, appreciate you sharing some of your story. This is great. Thanks for doing it.
I appreciate you having me, Nick. Thanks so much.
Of course. For AJ, I'm Nick. This is another episode of Meet the Zor.